Good afternoon. Welcome to the Facebook Live session with Aussizz Group. My name is Pooja, and I'm a registered migration agent at Aussizz Group Birth. Today, in this live session, we'll be talking about student visas, student visa subsequent entrant application, and also a little bit about visitor visa and visitor visa extension for those onshore people that are here who are on a visitor visa and are looking to extend the visitor visas because of they cannot travel or other things related to it. So we'll first start with student visa, how you can, when we talk about student visa, we'll be covering three topics. The first topic that we'll be discussing would be student visa, how you can convert your onshore visitor visa to a student visa or any other visa to student visa for that matter. And the next thing that we will be talking about is if you are running out of your student visa, out of your time on your student visa, and you haven't yet finished your course and you need to study further, then we'd be talking about how you can extend that your student visa. And the third topic that we'll be covering under student visa is how you can include your dependent, your family members, such as your spouse and your children, on your existing student visa. Um, so let's talk about converting a student visa when you are onshore. So let's say you are onshore on a visitor visa, you have come to Australia on a visitor visa, you have stayed here and you want to study, you have decided that you want to study further. And so to start with, what you can do is you can give us a call. We can help you decide on your what subjects to study, what university to prefer. We have a very good team of education consultants who would be more than happy to help you with that. And once you have decided on your choice of study, your university, and everything sorted, then that's when I come in and I can help you get through with your converting your student visa. So you're converting your current visa to a student visa. Um, when we convert a visa to a student visa, or when you apply for a student visa onshore, the first and foremost thing that we need to look at is what visa you are on at present and what condition does that visa have. Certain visas, such as the visitor visa, which is a very common visa, which normally people are on before they convert to a student visa. um, Sometimes you would have a condition known as the no further stay condition on it. So unfortunately, if you have that condition on your current visa, you would not be eligible to apply for a student visa onshore. uh, Other than that, you can go ahead and apply for your student visa. And like I said, the first and foremost thing that you need is you need your evidence of study. Evidence of study means your evidence to prove that you have enrolled in a university or a college for a course of study, and that could be a confirmation of enrollment or a letter of offer. The next thing that we would want from you is your documents related to your identity. Ideally, it is greatly recommended that your passport be valid for at least 6 months. If not, then please go ahead, request like apply for your passport, and then like you can proceed with your application. Um, then, apart from your passport, any other identity documents, very well, you can go ahead and submit those as well. The next thing, a very important aspect or very important thing about getting a student visa is your insurance, your health insurance. You need to get your overseas student health cover valid for the period of your intended stay in Australia. Um, then the other thing is your English language. You need to have your English language, evidence of your English language. Other than certain passport holders, most of them do require English language. You need to prove that you meet the English language standard. Now, this English language standard is in the form of an English language test, such as the IELTS, PTE, and normally these tests are valid for 2 years from the date of the test. Um, So once you have those in ready, then the next thing is what we would require is your evidence of financial capacity. Now we'll talk in detail about the financial capacity a bit later. So, but basically, evidence of financial capacity means evidence to show that you have enough fund to support your stay in Australia, your study in Australia. Followed by your financial capacity is also the other important thing that we need is your evidence of that you are a genuine temporary entry, which we call as the GTE requirement. Now, we'll talk about GTE requirement in detail a bit later, but basically a GTE requirement is a statement is a like it could be statements and evidence to prove that you intend to stay in Australia only for the intended duration of your stay. Now, if you want to convert your visa to a student visa, if you want to stay further in Australia and study, kindly give us a call, and I'll be more than happy to help you with how you can go ahead with that. Similarly, like if your student visa is running out, and if you have not completed your course for a certain reason, it could be reasons such as because of your health reasons, because of you failed some units, or any of the reasons, and you are not able to complete your course, you're already on a student visa, and you still have a portion of your course remaining, then you would also have to meet all the requirements, like I said before, all the requirements of a student visa. You would have to reapply for a student visa. In that case, again, all the requirements would be the same, everything would be the same, and you would go ahead and submit a new application for your student visa. um, Now let's talk about the financial capacity, or that's the most common question, or that's one aspect which concerns most of the students that come to us. So, first of all, your financial capacity is as prescribed by the department. When you apply for your student visa, you and any other accompanying member, that is, if you have your spouse or your kids included in your application, you need to have funds enough to prove that you can support yourself and your accompanying members for 12 months stay in Australia, along with the course fee for 1 year. So now, this 12-month living expense and the tuition fee is calculated as per a the 12-month living expenses is calculated as per a prescribed guidelines given by the department. And your course fee is that course fee that is prescribed by the university or your education provider for 1 year. So a combination of that, the total amount of that is what we need as your financial capacity. Now, when we talk about financial capacity, um, the most common question that comes is how do we prove this fund? How do we show this fund? Where do we need to show this fund? Now, this fund can be your own fund that you hold in your name. It could be in your personal account in Australia. It could be in your personal account overseas. It could be in your spouse's name. It could be, it could be of besides, it could also be from your parents or your brother, your sister, or your relatives. Now, anybody can be your sponsor, provided that you can prove your relationship with that person. Highly recommended, and also you can prove that you actually have genuine access to that fund. Now, when we talk about genuine access, we mean that you actually are entitled to the money that your sponsor holds in their name, under their name. So now, when you prove your relationship, it means you need to prove your relationship between you and your sponsor, the person who is going to be your sponsor. So again, it's very elaborate, and the kind of documents that you provide for to prove your fund, to prove the genuine access, depends on case to case basis. So the best thing for you to do would be to give me a call, book a consultation, and then we can go ahead and help you with explaining to you how you could arrange those documents and what sort of documents you can give to us. um, Now, the other thing about financial capacity is a very common question or a very common query that we get from students is, what if my, let's say my father wants to be a sponsor, but he does not have that money, that much, that total amount in his fund. So what can I do? Can somebody else also be my sponsor? Yes, you can. You can have joint sponsors. You can have two people sponsoring you, but again, each sponsor should have, so you should be able to prove your relationship with each of them, and each sponsor should be um, they should be able to, you should be able to prove that you have genuine access to the fund of those individual sponsors. So now that is about your financial capacity. If and uh, see apart from sowing like savings or fixed deposits, things like that, you can also rely on ongoing annual income. But when you do an ongoing annual income, it is very limited to who can be your sponsor for ongoing annual income. And if you want to rely on an ongoing annual income, then it can only be your spouse, yourself, or your parents. And for each depending on how many applicants are there, like if it is you as a single applicant or you have additional applicants, the amount of annual income also varies. So again, if you are concerned or if you are looking to apply for a student visa and you are struggling to sort out your financial capacity documents, you are not sure about what kind of documents to provide, please leave me a message in the comment below. And you do have the contact details in the post description. You can give us a call, give me, and then we'd be more than happy to help you with that. So moving on, the next thing that we talk about when we discuss about the student visa, when we talk about student visa, is the genuine temporary entry requirement. Now, this is something which is very um, subjective, and it is there is nothing. We do not have a predetermined list of documents that you have to give to meet that. It's not like, okay, you need to give these documents and it, like, and your genuine temporary GTE would be proved. So but basically a GTE requirement, to prove or to meet the requirement, the GTE requirement, we would you would be providing documents. You would be providing statements, a personal statement that you write, in addition to, or in addition with, along with supporting documents that support the claims that you have made in your GTE statement. So um, now again, like how you prove your GTE requirement, how you meet the criteria of your GTE requirement also depends on a case to case basis, because everybody has their own circumstances, everybody has their own um, criteria, everybody, it's different. So it depends on case to case basis how you elaborate your circumstances, how you elaborate your personal ties, how you elaborate your GTE criteria. It varies entirely from case to case basis. So uh, so again, like if you are stuck, if you are not sure how to meet it, we are here to help you. You can always give us a call. How to, just to give you a basic guideline, how you, what a GTE requirement normally consists of is, the first thing is your, it should not be like, it's not like um, it's not the, what to say, it's not just that what needs to be there, but just an outline of what you need in your GTE requirement is your personal circumstances in your home country. What are your personal circumstances? What were you doing before you came to Australia? What were you doing before you actually came to Australia to study? What did you study? What was your were you employed? What were you doing? What kind of employment background you have? What was your career? What career were you engaged in? And all those circumstances that led you to make a decision to come to Australia and then to study. The next thing that we would want you to include is why, the reason why you chose your study. Why did you choose that particular subject of study? Why this particular education provider? Why did you choose to study that particular course with that particular education provider? What we want to see here is we want to see that you have done your bit of research and you have not just made a decision just randomly to study. And so that is basically what we want to see in here. The other very important thing that we want you to include in your GTE statement is what value does your course, the course that you are intending to study or the course that you are currently studying, what value does it have to your, what value do you think that course is going to add to your future career when you go back to your country? What how do you think that is going to add value to your career? Let's say if you are studying nursing, what is the scope of nursing in your home country, and how do you think that you would be how would you think you would benefit as a nurse being qualified from Australia as compared to the one qualified in your home country? So similarly, we would want to know how what the um, what value does this particular course have in respect to your future career plan, in respect to the scope of it in your home country, and things like that. And also, the most important thing is your emotional and other personal ties to your home country. What is your family structure like? Do you have siblings who are do you have siblings living with your parents, or are your parents alone? Do you have your spouse, your kids overseas whom you have left behind and come to Australia to study? Or if not, then what are other emotional ties you have in your home country? And along with that, what are the other personal ties you have in your home country? Like you could have properties, you could have assets, or you could have businesses that you were running before you came to Australia, and now you want to go back and get that up and ready and started, or things like that. So all those are basically, these are the GTE requirement would focus on your intention of returning to your home country after you have completed your uh, study in Australia for the intended period. And like I said, if you are making any claims in your GTE requirement, in your GTE statement, sorry, if you say that, oh, I had a business in my home country, it is highly recommended that you support it with your evidence. You can't because whatever you write, it is a very important piece of information that you are giving to the department, and the more you can support it with supporting documents, the more stronger it is for you and your case. Now, also, like when we are talking about GTE requirement or GTE statement for those students who are already here and who are looking at reapplying or extending their student visa, a very important thing that you want to include in your GTE is the reason for your um, reapplication of your student visa, or the reason for your extension. Why did you not complete your study in that period of time? In like when you were first granted your student visa, it was granted for the entire duration of your COE, but why did you not complete it during that time? What were the reasons behind it? Your medical reasons? What or your did you have medical reasons? Did you fail some units, or did you switch your subjects, or whatever reasons were there? You need to elaborate on that. And again, like I said, you need to support it with evidence. If you say that, oh yes, I had medical reasons, I could not study because of medical conditions, give us evidence for that. Give us evidence as to why what are the reasons you couldn't complete it. What was the medical condition? Did you go see a doctor? Do you have letter from the GP? What is it? So just give us those evidence, and now those evidence would help to strengthen your claims, and it's highly recommended that you do that. So again, if you are struggling with preparing your GTE statement, if you're struggling um, with providing evidence, or if you are struggling with any aspect of it, please feel free to leave us a message. We'll give you a call back and we can help you further with it. So that's basically what we need about what we require for, that is basically covers the GTE requirement. The other important thing that I want to cover when we talk about student visa is your English language requirement. Now, especially for those students who are already studying and who are left with a certain portion of their course and want to reapply for the student visa to complete their course, to complete the outstanding portion of their course. Yes, if you if you have completed uh, a substantial portion of your course, then you are eligible for a waiver of the English language requirement, which basically means that if you have completed a substantial portion, or if you have studied, um, I would say more than 50 to 60% of your course, then you could be eligible for English language waiver. You would not need to provide for an English language course certificate or the English language test certificate. However, if you are a student who is, if you are an onshore student applying for a student visa altogether for the first time, yes, it is a mandatory requirement to provide your English language evidence unless you are from those exempted passport holders, unless you belong to one of those exempted countries. Okay, so see if we have got some questions here. Okay, so now the next thing that we want to talk about, the third topic of our student visa today, is adding your spouse or your child in your student visa application, your current student visa application, or including them when you're reapplying for your student visa. So now, ideally, let's say you came to Australia as a student, you went back, you went, you got married after you came to Australia as a student, and now you want to include your your spouse or your partner, and to your student visa application, or you had or you had not included your child in your student visa application before, and now you want to include your child in your student visa application, then for that, yes, of course, you can do it. Uh, we would call it as the student visa subsequent entry application. It's pretty much and the requirement would be pretty much the same as the standard student visa application, such as your identity, your health insurance. You need to still provide your financial capacity evidence that your accompanying member has the financial capacity to support his or her living expenses, and also you would need to provide that you would have to address the GTE requirement for the accompanying applicant. In addition to this, one of the most important thing is you need to prove your relationship with that particular, with your accompanying member. With if it is your spouse, your partner, you need to provide us documents like it could be, if you are married, it could your marriage certificate and evidence of your ongoing relationship. Like it could be photographs from your marriage, photographs that you have spent in time together, or other supporting documents like. It could be bills in your joint name, your joint bank accounts, things like that. Anything to prove that yes, you are a couple. Uh, for your child, your birth certificate is very important. That is one of the most crucial piece of evidence that you can provide for your relationship, to prove your relationship with your child. Other important thing is, if you are not married, if you are like if you want to include your de facto partner as your accompanying member, yes, you can do that. To do that, you would have to prove that you have been in an ongoing relationship for the past 12 months, unless you have your relationship registered. So, if your relationship is not registered and you are in a de facto relationship, then you have to prove that you have been in a relationship for the last 12 months. And to prove that, you could use evidence such as your evidence that you have been living together, evidence that you have been that you are accepted as a couple socially, and um, it could be photographs from your holidays together, photographs from your social gatherings, or things like that. So again, if you are you can if you are looking at adding your dependent members to your student visa, or if you're looking at applying for your dependent member to be a part of your student visa, please leave us a message and we can get in touch with you and I can explain to you in detail about how you can go about it. So, so we'll just look at some of the questions that we have received here. It's from Brar Herman. He says, how long does the student visa takes? Brar, if you are talking about the processing time of your student visa, then ideally it would take about 1 month to 3 months, depending on what uh, what level course you have applied for. If you have applied for a higher education level, it normally takes about 1.5 month to 2 months time. And if it's a vet course, which is lower than like a diploma or certificate level course, then ideally it would take about 3 months time. Okay, so talking about the level of your education provider, one thing that I would like to talk about is if you have changed your AQF level, if you were studying a bachelor degree or a master degree in Australia and you choose to switch from a master's degree or bachelor degree to a level which is low, like to a certificate or a diploma course, then that is when you change your AQF level. So in that case, again, you would have to reapply for your student visa. So in that case, again, it would be as a new student visa application and you would have to meet all the requirements as we elaborated earlier. Mm. Okay, so that pretty much sums up the requirement of a student visa application, and we covered about most of the three types of student visas. And uh, again, if you have any questions, any queries, or if you are struggling to with your student visa application, we have our contact details are in the post description. Please feel free to give us a call. You can leave us a message there, and we'll be more than happy to help you with that. Okay, the next thing that we talk about in today's live session is the visitor visa, and especially in given the current circumstances, there are a lot of people who are on a visitor visas in Australia, and they are unable to travel because of the travel restrictions, and so they are looking at what they can do to lengthen their stay in Australia. So first and foremost thing that we need to see or that we need to be aware of when we are talking about a visitor visa extension is you do not have a no further stay condition in your visa. Now, uh, if you do have a no further stay condition, if there is a no further stay condition on your visa, then you would have to apply for a waiver of that visa before you can apply for your visitor visa extension. So in order to do that, you would have to make an application well ahead of time, give proper reasons why you are looking for a waiver, and why you cannot travel, or what are the reasons that is prohibiting you from traveling, and then you can submit a waiver, and if that is approved, then we can go ahead and submit your application for a visitor visa extension. So when you apply for a visitor visa extension onshore, it's going to be a visitor visa under the tourist stream. Now, when you apply for this, as with visitor visa application, you would have to provide, you have your genuine intention for a stay in Australia as a temporary on a temporary basis. You would have to provide evidence that you have funds to support your stay for the intended period, and if you are requesting an extension for more than 12 months, you need to prove that you have genuine reason to stay in Australia for beyond 12 months. Now, if you want to the if you want to, like I said, if you want to extend your stay for more than 12 months, then you have to explain it. And when you explain your intention to stay, it's highly recommended that you give evidence to support that, your claims, evidence to support your reasons for stay for beyond 12 months. um, Again, now, if you have your family members in Australia, and if you are willing to sponsor their, if you are willing to be their financial guarantor for their stay in Australia, then yes, you can be their financial guarantor. You can provide, you can say that yes, you can provide financial evidence, you can provide, you can provide your financial documents to prove that you are going to support them financially for the duration of the stay. Mm. Now, as with visitor visa extension, we would normally we would, if you let's say if you have the no further stay condition on your visitor visa, it is ideally recommended that you apply for your no further, you apply for a waiver at least 2 months before, because it could take time for it to be granted, and you wait for it to be granted. And also, like, if you cannot, if you are not granted a waiver before your visa expires, your current visa expires, you would not be able to apply for any other visa. That's why it's very highly recommended that you apply as soon as you can. um, if you if you are looking for if you are looking to apply for a visitor visa extension, then like you can leave us a message, we can give you a call, we can help you in understanding how you can go about with that. Mm. So we have another question here for student visa extension. The next question is from Deep Core. It's for student visa extension again. Um, so see, to apply for your student visa extension, evidence of financial capacity is very it's a very important document. So what I would suggest is, if you are struggling to, or if you cannot get those documents organized, uh, what you can do is, please book a consultation with us so that I can actually understand what documents you have and what documents you do not have, and I can advise you accordingly. So the next question is from Core. Hello, can I apply student visa during AAT refusal 187 visa? Okay, so Core Sukjas. Okay, so see, if you are waiting for your AAT, you've applied for your AAT merits review and you're waiting for a decision on it, then no, you'll have to wait for your you would have to wait for a decision on your AAT before you can actually apply for another visa. The next question is from Meredith Bowen. She says, I've already submitted my student visa application with my COE for a course beginning in July. Is there any word to whether students will be able to return for course, even if it is deferred to January 2021 start date? Meredith, do you mean that you submitted it from offshore? Like for a course beginning in July, and you want to know whether you would be able to come back to come if your course is starting in 2021, then yes, of course, as long as you have a valid visa, you can come to Australia. You would be able to come to start your course. If your course is deferred in January 2021, then yes, of course, you can come in time to start your course in January 2021, provided your visa is granted before that. The next question is from SK Sen. Is there any fund need to sow to increase visa? I'm doing masters in health admission. If you SK Sen, are you? What I understand from your question is whether you need additional fund to be shown when you want to extend your visa. If that's what you're asking, yes, of course, like I explained earlier, for any student visa extensions you would need to provide additional you would need to provide evidence of financial capacity even though you are applying for an extension of your student visa. Okay, so um, see, evidence of financial capacity is a very important document. So if you are looking for extending your student visa, then yes, you need to provide funds to show that you have you need to provide documents to show that you have enough fund to support your stay for the duration of the outstanding course, whatever duration is left on the course, to pay the outstanding course fee, and also for the remaining period of your stay in Australia. You need to show your fund for that. Okay, so I think that brings us to the end of our live session today. If you have any queries, if you have any questions regarding your student visa extension, or student visa subsequent entry application, as well as your visitor visa, please feel free to leave me a message. You have all the contact details are in the post description. All consultation for student visa extensions are free and are free of charge, so you can leave us a message or you can give us a call and arrange a consultation, and I would be more than happy to help you with sorting out your documents or sorting out your